So this is France 1940 sickle cut scenario. What we have here is the French line right along here, and then a few German forces already on the map. This game is 10 turns with an optional 11 up to 14 turns. And for the French, it's touch and go. Here it's not a complete walkover game, as some would suspect for the French player in 1940. But it's for the Germans, they need to get basically over here to Albertville and cut the rail line, and you get 10 victory points, and pretty much guarantees your victory. And the French want to prevent that, basically. And for the French player, and it's try to slow down the German player without losing too many and trying to attrit those armored divisions as much as possible. And being a Simonowitsch design, you have the Zachbons, and that's one of your key allies in trying to prevent the Germans from pushing too far quickly. So the French player, it's delay as possible and hit the Germans when they can, because the army units are still pretty viable, the large guys here. Just that they don't move fast, and the Germans are allowed to place something similar to the Ardennes 44 roadblocks and traffic jams, chits you have here that will create problems for the French player. Germans' reinforcement schedule is quite set. They come in here, whereas the French are random draws. So that kind of, you hope you get good units, and some turns you may not. And on the turn track, it tells you what the yellow number here along the bottom tells how many you get to draw as the turns go. And we'll see how it goes. So this is sickle cut at the end of the turn 1. 3rd and 4th Panzer Divisions force back the French Armored Division, the 3 DLM unit. Took a hit, but they also took a hit on their motorized infantry, falling back with that armored division. The 5th and 7th Panzer Divisions muffed their attack across the river. They were forced to retreat, but the French did a determined defense and canceled the retreat and reinforced it, so that's quite strong there. 6 didn't attack, but they got their been reinforced units in front of it. We only have the crossing the Meuse down here on Sedan, and units are trying to keep the bridgehead contained. So French are moving up units up, and French didn't get any reinforcements on this turn, and let's see what happens in turn 2. So this is the end of turn 2. We got the Germans punching out from Sedan pretty well, but the French are containing the pocket a little bit. I don't think they're going to hold it very long. We're able to hold off the 6th Panzer Division. There they did basically a exchange and determined defense of the unit there in the city. But up here, Rommel and was able to get across, and the 5th Panzer Division 2. So that's being pushed out. But right now the French players collapsing the line down. The 3rd and 4th also took another hit on their infantry, but the Deal line is going to hold them, but they're setting up another line along the canal here and river, holding that, but these guys punching out here, we're going to probably collapse that down a little bit quicker and see what happens on the next turn. So this is the end of turn 3, and down here in Sedan, the Germans pushed out the pocket, but the French counterattacked the brigades of the 10th and 1st or 2nd Armored Division, the 2nd. And their brigades were here where the 3rd DCR tank unit is. It was surrounded. They attacked it, got them to retreat back. I'm going to put a disrupted on that. And so that kind of saved the French here in the pocket, but up here they didn't do much there. The 5th and 7th have pushed out. The French are retreating back, so as this hole opens up, even though they're containing down here, it still leaves all these guys cut off. But 3rd and 4th Panzer started cutting off here, so they pulled out off the Deal line. They're forming a line here to slow, but only a couple units here. They're not going to be trying to shift guys southward and northward with these reinforcements. Basically a lot of open space here for the French to cover with limited reinforcements. So some areas working well for the Germans and not so good for the French up here, and good for the French here for now. Let's see what turn 4 happens. So this is the end of turn 4, kind of mixed for both sides. Their major breakout down here at Sedan. French are bringing up reinforcements. They're being slowed by the big use of the GQG units, except Gaulle can't be affected by them. But up here, the 5th Panzer Division brigade was up here in the forest. In 4710, it was attacked by DLM-2, the stack of motorized infantry, and this infantry unit and they came down from up here and counterattacked and basically knocked him into full retreat, cut off the 7th Panzer Division from supply, so they're going to have to fight back on that, but it's going to slow them down. And then the French also counterattacked the 3rd Panzer Division and forced it back over the canal, and then they also got reinforcements of that armored division, came down here from the north and smacked that infantry division that was hanging out here at 4701 and knocked them back over the deal. And because they advanced away from the Germans, but they took a hit on the British unit there. And so, kind of mixed, but it was... So this is the end of turn 5. The Germans are really have pushed out here quite well. The guys cut off supply. Broke out up here. The 7th Panzer was able to get back and save itself without getting caught out of supply. French are just pulling back as best they can up here, and did counterattack here, damaged one of their armored brigades, but also de Gaulle took a hit. So things are got a lot of holes here for the Allied player trying to plug. The Germans are relentlessly pushing as much as they can, but this is, they got 4 turns to get to Albertville. The French may have a shot here. So this is the end of turn 6. The French and Germans have been fighting it out here. De Gaulle's unit was knocked down to remnant, but it took out the armored brigade of the 8th Panzer Division. But the Germans are pushing out along here. They kind of, that was a bad roll on their part. They did a lot of bad rolls this turn. Couldn't force those guys out. Rommel pushed a little forward, but clearing this all out and pushing further the line here, but no clear major breakthrough. Probably the French are being helped by the poor die rolls the Germans are having, and good few critical determined defense rolls. So onward, turn 7. So this is the end of turn 7. Germans are not doing as well as they hoped. The French again counterattack down here, but nothing major, just forced back some units, but saved the unit that was out of supply. But the Germans are really pushing hard up here, but the French are keeping them boxed in well. But things are more progressing up here in the north, pulling down the French. And with the 3rd and 4th Panzer Division. But the problem is that the Germans at key moments are rolling poorly, and the French are actually doing good in their determined defense rules and staying put, which is slowing the Germans down. because it prevents the advance. So they got basically 3 more turns to break it all the way to Albertville, which is getting units up. Very different from my last game, where the Germans ripped through pretty easily. So this is the end of turn 8. See, the Germans are pushing down onto this side of the map with the infantry divisions, but the French are trying to pull back a little bit, but the French here punched a hole in the line with the 2 armored divisions, and I think the advantage for the French is keeping these guys concentrated, and I was lucky to get them in reinforcements because it's random, especially for that guy, whereas in previous games I did not have such a tank force down here to really cause issues. Germans are pulling more up and out, but the slow going by keeping units around just to keep the zone of controls, keep the advance, not breakouts, except out here it did a little bit. So they got 2 turns to get all the way over to cut that railroad line from Albertville up to the north to gain 10 victory points, and it's getting a little problematic for the Germans, and they're closing up the reinforcement hexes up here. Don't want surprises in the rear from the north. But man, this unit cut off here is supposed to be taking attrition, but it's rolling well. The French have been rolling quite well on certain things, just enough to cause problems for the Germans, and monkey wrenches. The Germans have rolled some pretty poor rolls, losing units. And so, see if they can pull it out in turn 9. So this is the end of turn 9. French have brought up more forces up here to cover. The Germans forced back the army units and could have killed them if they retreated, but again, the French were able to do determined defense. They didn't have to retreat, and they were able to move out and get back into supply. But the French player was able to get the halt markers on these army units, so they're stuck for this last turn. They're not going to move, and because they were pushing quite well right here, Panzer divisions, but the French are moving back and keeping their distance, preventing getting surrounded somewhat. And we'll see what happens in the last turn. So this is the end of turn 10, and calling it the game here. Well, it's victory for the Allies at this time. We could continue on these 4 extra turns to see how it is, because if in the rule book it says that if you have to check the victory conditions at the end of the turn 4 and at turn 10. And if it's 2 different winners, then it's still a draw. Because over here, the Germans are punched up here further along. But luckily on the last turn, the Allies pulled 2 British divisions as reinforcements, so basically blocking this up higher on the north, moved tanks, so 3rd and 4th Panzer are going to have to go down to ours to continue their advance. These pockets here are going to cause difficulty getting around them. These infantry units got to shift over to cover supply line for these so they don't get cut, but with the Germans right here, they can push through Cambrai, and down here, as the bulge basically gets bigger, it's a little harder for the French player to cover, but also it's hard for the German player to cover the advance from the reinforcements that are coming in here, getting cut off, as it happened a couple of turns. This is interesting on this play, different from the last time I played this game face to face, is I was the French player and I did not get good reinforcements early in the game, because that's a completely random thing. So every time you play this game, you either get good reinforcements or bad, or like these 2 British divisions right early at the end are somewhat good, because if we extended the play, they could block the German player, but if they came in earlier, they would have really helped the defense over here. But also down here in the south, having the extra armor divisions really mucked up the works for the Germans, because those heavy tanks always get their bonus, even against armored units. That's how they killed the 6th Panzer Division Brigade's armor. The other nice thing about this design and the replayability of the reinforcements, so every time you play, and the other strategy for the French player is always do determined defense, because early in this game prevented the 7th and 5th Panzer Division and the 6th Panzer Division to get over the mirrors on turn 1, and then they had to spend a few extra turns trying to get across, so it really delayed that. And a couple determined defense rolls were good down here, so it blocked this one, so that really slowed the German player down. And then not really keeping the line up, but keeping a double line per se, where the Panzer divisions are to have zones of control to negate the advance quickly by the units, and just slowly going back worked. And also previously I was, in my other game, that I was always retreating the French at 2 hexes. This time it was 3, so you can get further enough away from the Germans and the guys that are disrupted. If you can place them well enough, they can form that second line behind or in front of the Panzer divisions, as it was being done here. Like these Panzer division force back these units here, this unit and this unit back, but they already had these guys covering, so they just formed the second line here as they advanced up. And so you basically do a leapfrog defense, but also getting good reinforcements helped quite a lot. And using rail helped bring in the reinforcements too, especially over here, Albertville, just kind of covering, just in case you get the French player gets knocked pretty bad. And then the French player played the halt line turn on turn 9, so basically 4 of the Panzer divisions did not do anything on turn 10, so that helped the French player. And that's critical of playing the halt orders for the French. And so that's sickle cut, and nice little design. And then we're gonna and as you can see in this play, Germans didn't win. It might be a rare option, but doable.